guest. Let's say good morning to Dr. Smart Sapong. Now, he is a senior research fellow at the Institute of Research, Innovation and Development, that's IRID, at Kumasi Technical University. He's here with one of our regular friends and panelists, Joe Jackson, who's a businessman. He's the COO of Dalex Finance. Gentlemen, thank you so much for your time and good morning.
Good morning. Good to be on the set.
It's great to see you both, and particularly you two, because today our conversation wants to focus on the picture of reality beyond the numbers. So it's great that we have a seasoned theorist, wizard with the numbers, and of course a practitioner, person who has been on the field doing business in the finance sector for so many years. So I look forward to this. Now let's start from those figures. We can talk a bit about how we performed in 2018 as we anticipate the budget for next year. And in 2018, one of the things that was echoed, as has been echoed every year for at least the last 8, is the need for us to fundamentally change the structure of our economy. Now, what does the figures tell us about whether we are succeeding in that or failing in 2018? Dr. Smart.
Well, thank you, and it's good to be on the show as usual. Yeah, to your question, the figures, truth be told, doesn't support the reality. Doesn't support the reality. The theory that was propounded by this government from day one was to jeer us off the era of, let's say, borrowing, excessive borrowing, into an era where we could, to a certain extent, fund ourselves. That, in theory, or is frequently being re-echoed. So the assumption is we are serious with it. But then the truth is, if we are serious with it, we should be a little more serious. Why? Because the first year, the first budget that came, 2017 or so, there were some issues of how debts are going to be managed.
Serviced.
Yes, debts are going to be serviced. And the impression that time was, with that strategy, we are going to be better off in terms of our debts or borrowing. But the extent to which we were made to believe did not show up that way at the close of the budget year 2017, and that is truth be told. Then we moved into 2018. You see, the budgets have captions, nice captions. The first caption was Asempa budget, yes. And there were some Asempa in it, budget cards, this, that, one. But if you ask me of the reality on the ground, businesses suffered that year. Businesses suffered that year. So you ask yourself, how did it actually become Asempa to some business sectors? We were faced with regulatory issues with regards to the port and spare parts dealers and all those things. And for almost the whole year, we couldn't resolve our regulatory issues. So if we knew we were going to be stampeded by regulatory issues, we should have perhaps addressed those ones before moving into. But you see, the dreams are good. But as you rightly asked, the reality is what some of us would be interested in. Right. We move into a Jumapa budget, and the Jumapa budget also promised us a lot of things. Now you are asking of whether we are meeting our targets. The real figures we are supposed to be fed maybe today, and that is also not good. We should be regularly being fed with the performance, the indicators of the various things. Ghana projected up to 4.5, I think, for agric, for instance, and then industry 9.4 for this 2018. Now, the years are ending, where are we? I see around 4.3 or 4 point something with agric. I see around with industry. Maybe we are doing better with industry. I can see that one 17, meaning we are doing better with industry. And we are supposed to.
That was the projection. 17
yes.
was the projection.
Yes, these are projections, and the shortfall is that we don't have the exact as of today to, yes. Before we end, I would make that advocacy strongly here, that it is mandatory for us to be fed with figures from time to time, quarterly or semi-quarterly, semi-yearly, or those things. And we should be so set so that we will know how our country is performing. But the general overlook to begin our discussion is that the ideas are good. But till today, if you ask me sincerely, till today, the reality is far from the figures.
Well, that's I don't know how that feels for a practitioner, because we heard the budget, the Asempa budget. We then heard the mid-year of the Asempa budget, and it was filled with optimism. I don't remember government saying, "Oh, we're not going to make it." You know, it sounded like they were on track. The macroeconomic factors were favorable, looking good. I wonder how much of that favorable goodness you're feeling in your business. You know, in the morning when you wake up, go to the office, and the customers start coming in. How much of that macroeconomic beauty are you able to transfer to them?
Well, the challenge you have is this. Truly, even for today's budget, you will see, I'm sure they're going to announce some fine-sounding macroeconomic numbers. This morning, as I was driving here, inflation is supposed to have dropped again to 9 points, to single digits status. They'll tell you growth is the economy is growing and all that. The challenge we face is this. All this sounds fantastic at the top, but when you get to the bottom, there's a palpable sense of malaise that I don't know where I'm going. I'm not sure I'll have a job tomorrow. My business is not growing. My debtors are not paying. And I don't feel anything in my... So there seems to be a real disconnect between what the numbers seem to tell us and what is actually happening. I have a theory, a very interesting theory. My theory is this. What lubricates this whole process is the financial sector. It's the financial sector that actually transmits the good numbers into that plumber's pocket, into that watch seller, into your cameraman and everybody that works there. Because what happens is this. As an SME, and the SMEs, let nobody be confused. The SMEs are the engine of this country. But what you find has happened is that people, due to external shocks, people are so scared that everybody, what you have, you hold. Your money does not go to the bank. Even if your money is in an institution, you go and say, give me back my money. So that lubricating effect, that takes money from those who have and gives it to those who need it. And then I decide that I want to build a new toilet in my house, and I pay the plumber, and the plumber pays a laborer, and then the laborer buys wache, and there's that transmission process that makes everybody happy. That process has broken down because of what has happened in the financial sector. So I take my money and I hold it. I don't build any toilets. When I don't build a toilet, the plumber is poorer, the laborer is starving, and the water seller does not feel what has happened. So you can tell me all the nice things at the top. It's not happening. And that's one reason why I feel the transmission mechanism has broken down. And you talked about the structure of our economy. Forgive me. When I was growing up, I went to University of Ghana, and we had a course called Economy of Ghana.
Yeah.
In the 20s, Ghana's biggest export was gold. In the 1920s, in the 2020s, Ghana's biggest export is still gold. The numbers, the structure hasn't changed. So there we sit. We were supposed to see rapid industrialization with a one district, one factory. And there was a sense that we were in a hurry and things were going to happen. They haven't happened as fast as we expect. There was a sense that taxes were going to be, the tax base was going to be widened, people were going to pay, loopholes blocked, our revenue collection was going to get better, and there'll be a lot more money to do a lot more things. Unfortunately, that has stalled. So what we have is some very exciting things done at the top level, etc. But it all boils down to, you see, as you ask me, as I walk down on the street, I am not financing any SMEs. I doubt when any of my colleagues or institutions or competitors, or call them what you have, none of us is financing any SMEs. We are too busy struggling, right, to hold on to liquidity to pay our depositors who are jumping out of the market because there's a liquidity crunch.
So this is funny. I mean, every time I've spoken to the managers of the economy, they've made the point that what happened in the banking sector, its effect on our economy is minimal. They minimized the effect by intervening. That's what they say. They say, look, if we hadn't come in and consolidated these banks, the effect would have been worse.
Time out. In theory, yes. In practice, a huge no. If all the depositors, the big depositors in the consolidated bank, have been given or forced to take a 5-year bond at 7.5%, where is the liquidity? So you stepped in. I had money at Consolidated Bank. It was with Beige or Sovereign or Royal or Construction or Unibank. And yet you've turned around and said to me, and it was supposed to be for 90 days, whatever time it was going to mature soon, and I was going to take the money and do something with it. First of all, you've dropped my interest. And in a country where even the headline interest, even today, is supposed to be 9%, when you're giving me 7.5%, you're destroying value. And you're keeping the money for a number of years. So what you have done is, yes, you stepped in. Yes, you protected my money, but I don't have access to it.
Would you rather have lost it?
No, that's not the point. But the point is this. The reality, you asked me for the reality. The reality is that you stepped in, you've done some good, but you haven't done all the good that can be done. And one of the reasons why I am looking forward to this budget is that we all realize there should be some quantitative easing. There should be some liquidity put in the system. And yet, forgive me, from all indications, the government is even broker than it was before, because one target we're sure they have missed is the revenue collection target. That we are clear is being missed. I mean, when I heard that commissioners had been dispatched to ports, etc., to go and sit there and collect the money,
But
trouble.
they always advertise the successes. Just 2 days ago, 12 billion collected at our ports.
Yeah.
Record-breaking.
Yeah. What about all the other sides? How much are we collecting in income taxes? How much are we, if it was record-breaking and so exciting, why is the fiscal deficit growing? Or why is there so little room to do some of the things that we are supposed to do? Why is it that agencies claim they are unfunded and don't have the resources? We just heard the special prosecutor screaming and shouting that he has no resources to do what he has to do. If you speak privately to any minister, the first refrain, like a broken record, there's no money to do what I have to do. I don't have the resources. You have to understand me. There's nothing much. There's no room to play. Hey.
So, do you think the authorities have downplayed the effect of the banking crisis on our economy? Because I spoke to the Bank of Ghana and they said, look, don't even worry about what's happening here. We've got it under control and it does not affect the economy in a significant way.
That is an admission of the fact that it affects the economy. Perhaps they say smartly.
Operating word is significant.
Yes. Not
it's the significance we are debating.
Yes, but significance is so subjective. When, for instance, if you were a medical officer in the theater room and over a period of, let's say, 1 month, you did maybe 100 surgeries and you lost 5, it could be not significant. I mean, but you're talking about a life lost.
Yes. So if 3 of those 5 are from my family, then it's significant to me.
Absolutely. So if sincerely, we are all Ghanaians. My reasoning is that if they would be frank with us and not to play with the words. For all you know, experts are around, chip in an advice or two if they may take. We would all collectively build a country for ourselves. So it has, as it is now, the truth is what he was saying. The truth is that you may not get all the money you have with the bank. The interest negotiated prior to this merger is slashed down, it is true. That is it. And what is it in terms of value? You have lost it. So to the individuals, can you imagine how many people are losing, even if it is 5% each? Altogether, I mean, it's significant unless we want to. And figures are, as you know, they can be beautified or made ugly. Carefully, to us, it is the beautiful aspect of it that is put out. And we keep the inference. In statistics, we say is the descriptive that is put out. We keep the inference, the weight. What is it? What is the impact on it? We keep it. And we say, oh, it is this, but not that. But let's admit, as a country, that yes, the intervention was good, but the way things were done, and the fact that we are hinging on the fact that if we had not come in, we would have lost. So this is what we have. We have come in with this. And that the effect on you is not that significant, blah, blah, blah. I tend not to agree with that.
So you see, for me, this is serious.
Yes.
The messages contradict each other a lot. So they keep saying macroeconomic factors are good. Not so long ago, about a month ago.
We're not disputing about that.
Yes.
Oh no, the question is at the end of it. So they say that, and then they also say, just about a month ago, Ghana was one of the fastest growing economies in the world.
Absolutely.
And then they also say that we are facing difficult times. That's from the president. So it appears that they themselves are telling us that, look, these numbers look good, but we also know that the reality is not good. But who is to blame for the difference? Who is to blame here? Who can we point fingers at and say, because you didn't do a good job, we're in this position? Is it those who ran the banks? Is it those who ran the regulator? Is it the political leadership? Is it you and I? Is it an attitude problem that has led us here? Where can we firmly place the blame and say, look, you guys failed, now we're all losing out?
I will tell you that those who run these institutions didn't do a good job. Whether they were intentionally malicious, and there's reason to believe that some of them acted maliciously, fraudulently, whether they were negligent, right? And there is a concept of criminal negligence. And if I hand you a responsibility and you are negligent, then sometimes I can hold you and say, why did you close your eyes to all that was going on? Literally, I'm from Winneba, so I would say I is in Papain. But definitely, I hold that cadre, that cohort, those teams as primarily responsible by their reckless behavior, by their malicious intent, by their fraudulent behavior and negligence. They've led us into this mess.
I want to challenge that, and I wonder if you will agree or disagree. So yes, I mean, I don't think it's in doubt that if you broke a rule, you must face the consequence. If you did the wrong thing, you must face the consequence. But there are two things I want us to consider here. None of these rules could have been broken without either the complicity or the negligence of the regulator. And then we also have the effect of this rule breaking on the rest of the sector. Today, people are panic withdrawing from institutions that are doing the right thing.
Thank you.
So, and we still have a regulator. We haven't heard this regulator come out and reassure the public that, look, you don't need to do a run on this bank. They are obeying the rules. So relax, your money is safe. We're not hearing that, but is that not part of their role? Can we not also point a finger at the regulator?
Yeah, sincerely we can. And over the years, we have not done the right thing, and we should admit as a country. All these things happened under the regulator, the regulator's watch. And there are people that we shouldn't, in discussing them, we shouldn't affiliate any political colors to. You are a technocrat, well knowledgeable, able to regulate the banks. That's why you sit there at the top as central bank. So when you sit and your people are confused as to which money they can play with and which money they cannot play with, I have this popular saying, I always say that sometimes men in position confuse monies meant for the public with their own money. They treat monies as though they can decide on it, whatever it should be used for, to the left or to the right, without recourse to the fact that this is public money. You see, and if the regulator sits there and sees all these things happening, to the extent that indications were clear way back 10 years back, 6 years back, 4 years back, that these things are going on, it intervenes with this, what do you call it? I've forgotten the name. It intervenes with some sort of support, liquidity support, and still it is abused. Then the complexity is true. Somebody over there should be compromising. Somebody over there should be, part of the deal. It is good investigation, some form of investigation has started. We want to trust that this time regulators of the central bank will do the country some good. Will do the country some good by being sincere with their investigations. And at least, I'm not actually sometimes in support of incarceration and all this. Let's retrieve our monies wherever they are. Let's retrieve them. The talk is not what I want us to be hearing as a country. We shouldn't be interested in the assurances. We should see them trying to stabilize the system. And quickly, not to say that the government has not done well. We are answering the question as to whether the economic indicators that are being mentioned around, sufficiently relates with the reality. But there are several other aspects that sincerely the government of the day has done so well. So just to draw the line, that
right.
In economic indicators, we want to see some more realistic.
Okay, I want to hear more from the two of you on this issue and others. But right now, though, my colleague Roland Walker has been speaking to a member of parliament who has his fingers in many, many pies. He's an MP for K2 North constituency or in the Volta region. He's a Public Accounts Committee's chairperson. He's also a member of the Trade, Industry and Tourism Committee. So with this budget, his mind is on several aspects of it. Let's hear what James Kluche Abeji had to say to Roland.